to my channel. So today I thought that I would film a video for you guys talking about how to get a 4.0 in college, how to get A's in college, all about that stuff, just because I'm going on my third week of school, so it's still the beginning of the school year, and I know a lot of people started class last week and are probably starting class this week, so I felt like this would be a perfect time to talk about how to get A's, just so we can go in the school year with success and we can prepare ourselves for what the school year may be. So no matter if you're taking your classes online or in person, any of these tips can apply, and I just thought that I would help you because last semester I got a 4.0 and I was just very proud of myself, and these tips are possible even if you're super busy like I am. You can still get A's in your class. So sit back, relax, because today I'm going to be talking about how you can get a 4.0 at your university. So I have my journal of tips listed here, so if you keep looking down, that's the reason why, but yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and get started because I'm so excited to film this video. So the first tip is something that to me I think is important, even though I don't really apply by it, I'm not even gonna lie, but it's to sit in the front of the classroom. So I don't really like to sit in front of the classroom. I don't know why, I just don't, but I have sat in front of the classroom for some classes, and I've noticed that when you sit in front of the classroom, one, you pay attention more, but also it's something called the halo effect, where your professor just thinks that you're actually paying attention. Your professor thinks that you are smart and that you just like have a good mentality, that your professor has a good mentality that you are actually a good student if you sit in the front. I don't know why, it's weird. It's a thing. They just think that you're focused and you're paying attention and that you're actually interested in the class, and it's known that if you do sit in the front and you, like, let's say like you need help, or you're going to the office hours, or you want them to boost up your grade, since you're sitting in the front and acting like you're paying attention, makes them remember you more and they won't be afraid to bump up your grade. I don't know, I'll try to find an article that I can link down below to explain it better, but just sit in the front of your classrooms, especially since, you know, you don't want to be distracted about like what else is going on in the classroom. You won't have that problem if you just sit in front of the classroom. So the next thing is, I just say like plan out your life, but really it's just getting organized. So what I like to do, and this also goes with like another tip that I have in here, which is to read the syllabus and know what you're getting yourself into. So there has been some classes, I'm not gonna lie, where I'm just like, okay, I need this class, like I just need it for my core or to graduate, and so I'll take the class, and then I realize like a week or 2 weeks in that this is just not the class for me, and I just physically know I can't do it. So make sure you read the syllabus like the night before you get into that class, or the day of, just so you can know what you're getting yourself into, because you don't want to be like week 4 or like 2 months in and you realize that like this is just not the class for you. So really read your syllabus. The first thing that I like to do for the first day of school is put all the dates in my planner, and then I like to color code them by each class, so I know that like if red, this means like I have like reporting, and I know that I have assignments due for reporting. So I don't know, that just really helps me, and I think that if you are organized and it doesn't seem like, you know, everything is a mess, then it'll kind of like give your brain this sense that like, okay, I have everything on track, I know what I'm doing, and you just kind of feel more better and you feel organized and not like your schoolwork is swallowing you. So also befriend upperclassmen. I cannot like emphasize this enough. So it may not necessarily be like upperclassmen in your classroom, but it can also be like girls in your sorority or guys in your fraternity or people you know who have taken that class before. This tip is like so helpful because at least in my sorority, there's plenty of girls who have taken these classes, obviously, because most of them are core classes, and we have like a spreadsheet of girls in our sorority who've taken a specific class and the professor they taken, what grade they got, and then like notes on that class. So like let's say I'm taking like US history or something like that, and I'm not a history person, I'm not gonna lie, I don't do history, it's just not up my alley. So if I would look on that spreadsheet and I would text the girl who have taken that class and like give me any pointers, any advice, like what is the best way for you to study for this class, like all that kind of stuff. So I really recommend befriending like upperclassmen, whether it's in the class or just girls who have previously taken that class before. So that is a key tip that I just like live by. Also, so take these classes with your friends so you guys can hold each other accountable. So obviously if you're a freshman, it's kind of harder to do that because you may not have as many friends as you would as if you were a sophomore or junior. But take these classes with your friends because you can hold each other accountable. Like this semester, I have 2 classes with my roommate / best friend, and we hold each other accountable. We do assignments together, we, you know, study together, all that kind of stuff, just because we're holding each other accountable, and it kind of just makes it more fun when you have someone to do your work with you. And also like we can bounce off of each other. Like if I may not know something and she does, then like there you go, now you know it because she knows it, you know. So I really recommend that. And going along with that, like don't be afraid to make friends in your classroom. Like I recommend having like 1 to 2 friends in your class, like in each class, that you can, you know, text if you miss an assignment, or that if you need help with, or if you want them to like read over your paper or your assignment. I highly recommend that. And freshman year, like I was a pretty shy person, so I didn't really like get that, you know, mentality until the 2nd semester of my freshman year. And those people are not just like friends inside my classroom, but we also hang out outside of my classroom. So if you're looking for more friends, like don't be afraid to text or to talk to people who's sitting next to you or anything like that. And also, I know for 2 classes that I'm in this semester, people like just randomly like send out a group me and they're like, hey, like this is a group me for our like religion class. Do you want to be a part of it? We're gonna like talk about, you know, the study guide and just assignments that we have coming up. And I joined it and I'm like, this is actually a good idea. So if you want to be that person to create a group me for your class, go ahead and do that. I think that's an awesome idea. But yeah, just don't be afraid to talk to people in your class, try to make friends, because it's definitely going to be 10 times better than just being alone in your class. Like trust me, I know, because I used to be a loner where I was just scared and didn't want to talk to anyone. But once you start talking to people, you realize that like they're actually going through the same struggles that you're going through, and then you guys can bounce off of each other and it just works out 10 times better. So this is also another tip that I live by. So if you guys didn't know, that I'm a sports broadcasting and journalism major, and specifically on the journalism side of things, we have to write a lot and do papers and essays and just projects in general. And so I know I feel like I get stressed out really easily. So I'm the type of person where like I have to turn things in early or have to do things early, because you never know how long something is going to take you, and if you wait until the night before it's due, it could take you the whole day, and that's just really stressful for me. I know everyone handles stress differently, so I'm just saying what works for me. But me personally, like if I have a paper coming up or if I have like an assignment coming up, I will turn the paper in probably like 5 to 7 days before the actual due date, because your professors will give you critiques. So I'm not saying they all will give you critiques, but I've noticed that like if I email my reporting professors and I'm like, hey, can you look at this because I really need help, or I just like want some pointers back, they will literally practically edit your paper for you. Like no joke, I'm not even joking, at least my professors here at TCU do. So for example, on Saturday, I had a obituary due for my reporting class. So we just had to write an obituary about someone, and it was my first time obviously writing obituary before, because I've never, like, why would I ever do that in my life? And I wrote my paper, I think, on Tuesday. I submitted it on Thursday, and then she gave me critiques back that Thursday, and she basically like wrote my paper for me. Like, keep in mind, I did do the work, but she edited it where, like, you know, it made sense and just for me to get a better grade. So I highly, 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 highly recommend submitting your assignments early, because more than likely your teachers are going to give you critiques, or they're going to grade it and be like, this, I know that you're not this type of student, you don't deserve a C, so I'm going to give it back to you so you can, you know, maybe get up to a B or an A. So I highly, highly recommend doing that. Like, it's one of the best things you can do in life, or in school, I guess. So yeah, don't be afraid. So this is also another tip, And I feel like a lot of people know this just because like it's pretty obvious, but studying looks different for every class. And I feel like especially if you're a freshman, it's kind of hard to understand that at first. At least it was for me for first semester, because I would just make Quizlets for every class, and then I would study those Quizlets, and I would be like, well, why is a Quizlet not working in a math class? Or I would be like, why is a Quizlet not working in like a production class? And that's because each class is different, studying looks different, and you have to find what works for you and what works for that class. So for example, for a math class, you would not be, well, at least for me, I would not be making flashcards or a Quizlet, because those just don't work. I feel like for math, you actually have to apply the knowledge. So for math, I would be doing like practice problems, or I would, you know, get a workbook or go over my homework and do those problems like again and again and again. And keep in mind, I'm not a math person. I don't do math at all. But yeah, so for like, you know, a Spanish class, what I would do is I would probably make a Quizlet, or I would do flashcards and like study those flashcards over and over and over again. So you have to realize like what works for you in this class may not work for another class. And I think that that is a little bit tricky for freshmen, because you come into high school, or you come out of high school, and you know like what works for you. You're an auditory learner, you're a visual learner, and then you come to college and each class is different, and you can't study for math like you would study for Spanish. So that is something really good to keep in mind. So figure out what works best for you for that class in the beginning, and don't wait until after the test. Guys, I can tell you this, that I've waited until after the first test to really try to like figure out like what works for me. And I know sometimes like it's your first test, so you don't really know what you're getting yourself into, and sometimes you just kind of have to wait until after the first test to be like, okay, well, this doesn't work for me, I'm checking that off the list and moving on to the next thing. I get that, but try really hard to figure out what works best for you before the test, because the test because you want to be prepared for what the test is going to look like, and you want to set yourself up for success, obviously. So I love this one, and I kind of touched on this topic a little bit earlier in the video, but it's study to understand. And like I said, this has something to do with being efficient and actually putting detail into your work. So I get it if it's a class that you just have to take and that you have no interest in. I get it. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes I just do the bare minimum just to get an A, or just to, you know, do whatever I have to do. But if it's a class for your major, I highly recommend, and you should want to do this anyway, because this is potentially like what you're going to do with your life, but I highly recommend studying to understand. I can't stress this enough, studying to understand. Just because like I feel like if you have an assignment due and you're doing it just to do it, then you're not really caring about it. But if you actually like look at it and try to evaluate it and realize like how is this going to help me in the real world, then you're going to like it 10 times more than just studying to study, if that makes sense. So really study to understand, because it's going to help you so much more, and the information that you're learning is probably going to be way more fun if you think about how you can apply that topic into like your future, or into like the next assignment that you're doing. Because in a way, a lot of the times what you're doing for your major all connects. So what you're learning now, you may need that again in a year. So I realized that the hard way, not the hard way, but I realized that freshman year when I would take a class that I needed for like a prerequisite, that information that I learned in that class gets carried on to like sophomore year and junior year and senior year. So if you understand that from the get-go, then whenever you get to like your senior or junior year, then you're like crap, like not crap, you're like, wow, I already know this. I feel more comfortable with it, and I can ace the topic and ace the course and, you know, be good. So really study to understand. I think that that's very important, and it's also going to help you and be more fun. So this one is a tip that I also need to do more, but I realize when I do this, it does help me in the long run. But don't be afraid to ask questions and to see your professor. So, like I said, I'm not a shy person, but like I am when it comes to like specific things. So I was always afraid to like set up office hours or like meet on Zoom with my professors and ask questions. I like never. To this day, I still don't really ask questions in class. If I have a question, I'm always the type of person to just email them individually, or to just like figure it out and maybe end up getting it wrong, or to just figure it out and like ask my friends. But now that I'm a junior and even sophomore year, I would go see my professor and I would ask her questions especially like if you're doing something and then you get your grade back and you know you thought you got a higher grade and you didn't, you may not understand why you got it wrong. So I feel like it's really important to go see your professor. Also, if you go see your professor, then they're gonna see that like, oh, she's actually trying, she's actually coming to office hours and she really wants to learn, and so they're gonna be more willing and lenient to help you and even boost up or bump up your grade if it comes down to that. But yeah, don't be afraid to see your professors, to ask them for help, because I remember that happened to me last semester. Last semester. It was like the first week of school and we had to learn how to wrap a cord, and this to me was the dumbest thing ever. I was like, I don't want to do this with my life. Why do I know how to do it? Why do I need to know how to do it? And now to this day it makes sense why I needed to know how to do it. But I just could not do it. Like I literally physically, it's a specific way you have to wrap it. I literally could not like wrap the cord. And so I went to go see her in office hours and I was like, can you please help me? Like I just don't know what I'm doing and I just don't understand why I have to do this. And she helped me, and now I can successfully wrap a cord. Like, yay. But yeah, so just go see your professors, and like they want to help you. They're a resource for you. I remember I cried in my professor's office hours twice. Oh my goodness, I just realized that was twice. Once sophomore year, or twice sophomore year. One first semester, one second semester. Because I just was having a hard time. But it all paid off because I got a 4.0, so if you have to cry, cry. That's the main tip of the day. If you have to cry in office hours, do it. So there you go. So another thing is, don't wait to the last minute, because if you need help on something and it's literally like the night before or the assignment is due in a few hours, your professors aren't really going to want to help you if you know you waited to the last minute and you didn't ask them about an assignment that's due the next day, whenever you had over 2 weeks to, you know, submit it or to look at it or to ask them for help. So really, really, really try not to wait to the last minute. Just because sometimes they're not always going to answer, specifically if it's at nighttime or if it's a weekend, they may not get back to you like when you need them to. But also, I know if I was a professor and someone texted me like an hour before the assignment was due, like, hey, I don't know how to do this, and I would be like, well, you had all this time to text me, to message me, to email me, so why are you waiting to the last minute, you know? And it kind of seems like that specific student doesn't really care, so don't wait to the last minute, like, at all. Just don't do it. So those are the tips that I have. I honestly could go on and on and on and on and on about tips how to get a 4.0 and what I did specifically to get a 4.0. But these are the tips that I used, and I just think it's super important that you find your why, because I don't know why I didn't start off with this. I'm so sorry. But I feel like it's really important for you to find your why. Like, why am I going to school? Why did I major in this? Why do I want to get A's? Because I feel like that is going to tremendously help you with your academic career, with your education. Because for me, I am motivated to get A's. I'm motivated to work hard, to put in the extra 10%, because I want to be a sports broadcaster, because I want to see myself on TV, because I want to know that I've achieved all the goals that I set out to achieve. So really, I feel like specifically before you do anything, really, find your why. Find why you decided to major in X, Y, and Z. Find your why. I think that's really important, and just to stay motivated, like I said, or like I don't think I said this actually, but nothing is going to be easy. Like, it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. You're going to actually have to work and try. And yes, these tips did help me. And I know they can help you because I've, you know, given my tips to other people and it has helped them. But at the end of the day, you have to know why you want to do that. You have to know why you want to make A's in a 4.0. And you have to just be motivated and know that it's not just going to be easy and it's not going to happen overnight. It takes time. So that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. Definitely let me know, like this video, comment down below if you're going to use these tips for this upcoming school year, and let me know if you do have a 4.0 and if you have any other tips that I didn't, you know, cover in this video. We can all like share and be a resource for each other. But that is going to wrap, oh my goodness. That is going to wrap up this video. So comment down below, like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification, all of the above, and I will see you guys in my next video.